This episode is brought to you by the members of the You Run Podcast Network. All of their shows and our own can be found at yourunpodcast.com, along with links to our socials and to our shop. So please head over to yourunpodcast.com today and find your next podcast experience. We are the home of entertainment.
It was a witch.
Aye. It was a witch, Mercy. You speak her right.
Thomasin!
It was I.
Liar.
'Twas I what stole him. I be the witch of the wood.
Liar. Liar.
I am.
You want to die tonight?
The dad jokes you tell sets the scene. I hang on every word lost in the screen. Your passion for fear is contagious enough. You make me believe in Marc's overblown roundups. You run podcasts or a movie review, unveiling facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grinning long after I fled. But oh, the two one podcast.
Hello and welcome to the You. It's creepy, wasn't it? Hello and welcome to the You Run Podcast. My name is Scott.
My name is Marc.
And we are an interactive horror movie review show run and controlled by our listeners and our followers on social media. Each week you pick the movies on our Instagram poll, so you need to go and follow us there and everywhere else at You Run Podcast. We also have links to our socials on our website and links to all of our other shows and YouTube and all that kind of cool stuff. It's yourunpodcast.com. While you're there, also check out all the other fabulous members of the You Run Podcast Network, which we have 16, 17, lots of different shows for you to enjoy. When you're on Instagram, make sure you drop Marc a follow as well. He is at VHS from the Crypt and at Reviews from the Crypt, because he is the man that you need to follow if you like VHS tapes, because his collection is just makes me envious, dude. Yeah, honestly, I'm genuinely jealous when you post daily posts, which you do. Like everything you post is like different each day. It's not like you go, here's Scream this week, and then 3 weeks later you recycle it because you've only got a few. Like you've been posting every day for 2 years. Every fucking post is different.
It is, and it's hard work, man. I didn't think it would be as hard as it actually is, but it is hard work to keep the variety there. And you know what my OCD is like. Everything has to, if I feel like I'm repeating a post, it would drive me mad. So I try and keep things as varied as possible. But I'm always buying new tapes and stuff for the collection, so it's not that difficult to blast new stuff out. But yeah, it's fun. I'm enjoying it, and I consider this my inheritance.
Yeah, and occasionally Marc does a review on Reviews from the Crypt, depending on his mood.
I do very rarely these days, but I do.
Yeah. If you've never listened before, welcome and thank you for joining your brand new podcast addiction, which I'm sure will become, because we're highly entertaining, and if you're watching us on YouTube, rather sexy. It's just your moustache, man. It's like seductive.
It is. I'm sticking true to my word. I said Sonic the Hedgehog. We're nearly there. I reckon if I stretch it out, it's something. It's definitely getting there. I'm genuinely impressed, and I look. It's getting to the point where it's annoying now. It's irritating. When I get out of the shower and it all like doesn't wasp to the side and it comes down my face, I look like a walrus.
On this show, we give you a synopsis of the movie. We give you our more in-depth thoughts and analysis of the film. After the review, we do some interactive features. We have some games. We do lots of cool stuff. We have voicemails. It's a fun show. We also look at comments left on Spotify. This week we have a few. We are in our second week of Arthouse Horror Month. These movies rarely appear on the show, and me and Marc wanted to give them a showcase. And I'll be honest, man, after last week, the slow degrade of my enthusiasm for this subgenre is real.
Yeah. And again, like, I don't think either of the movies we've covered so far are particularly bad movies. Far from it, as far as I'm concerned. Well, yeah, but this is our second.
Yeah,
this is the second one, but I've watched the one for this week, so this is the second one. My point is my enthusiasm to put these films on is challenging, dude. You know me, B-movie horror, slashers, that's my zone. I can kick back, tune out, switch off, and just enjoy the ride. But these, I feel like they require effort. And it's daunting, man, when you know you've got to watch it and pay attention and put the effort in because you've got to record a show about it, man. I keep putting it off week in, week out for this month. And it's, again, they're not bad movies. They're, in fact, incredible movies in certain elements. But I do feel the effort is there to get through them, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I do as well. I'm thinking there's a big step up this week with the film we're covering, but we'll find out as we discuss it. For me, this movie's great, but I don't know where you are, and I'm sure I'll find out in a minute. I'm worried because if you don't like this, you and me won't fall out, but this is going to become very much I'm going to become that guy. Well, it's just because you don't understand it. Let me explain it to
you. Which I'm looking forward to, man. I'm hoping you can enlighten me.
One last thing before we get started, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, click that subscribe and notification bell. That's the biggest thing you can do to help us grow and reach new audiences. So, today, Tomlinson is the eldest of a 17th century family who went to the US as part of the colonies. After her father, William, has a disagreement with how he practices his faith, they're kicked out of the colony and forced to go and live on their own near the woods on their own little farm. Tomlinson, we find out, is a terrible babysitter, and she misplaces a baby while playing peekaboo. And coincidentally, peekaboo is how I would describe this movie. It shows you something, then takes it away, then lets you wonder what happened, then it will show you it again, then it takes it away again. This feature-length directorial debut for Robert Eggers was released in 2015. And it was the first credited role for Anya Taylor-Joy, who is now horror royalty. The question we pose today is, did Marc like this as much as me? Or is this another swing and a miss for the Arthouse horror genre? I think before we get in the review, one more thing.
Burn the witch! Burn the witch!
What is that?
Burn the witch. Where do you want to start with this?
I mean, it's an Eggers movie. He gets the best out of his cast. There is no denying that. And I think this movie, especially considering it's the first attempt from him as well, showcases that more than I found The Lighthouse to. The Lighthouse has incredible cast, but they're seasoned actors, which you expect that incredibleness from. It delivered it on a much higher level than I expected, but you certainly expect it. This features a lot of unknowns at the time. Anya Taylor-Joy, a few British cast members in there as well, and most people, especially the mum, who I've known from like sitcoms and things like that, none of them have really delivered on the level or quality that they do in this film. So I mean, I think maybe we should sort of dive into the casting a little bit first and get some of the highlights out the way.
Yeah, see, casting for me, Anya Taylor-Joy is this film. This is the reason she's become a megastar, and her performance from start to finish is flawless. But also,
especially for such a young age as well, because what was she in this? She didn't look a day older than 17, 18 at the time.
I think she was 17, 18. And even the younger cast around her, like a younger brother and a younger twin brother and sister, they're great. And they're like, the amount of times we see kids in movies and they're like, yeah, let's do this, because they're kind of reading it as they've been told to read it. In this, there's none of that. Like when the two twins are running around, I'm like, you're just two bastard, horrible children, and you are the reason everything's gone wrong.
Yeah, and I have a daughter similar age to the youngest twins in this, and I'm like, I don't think I could get my daughter to deliver an atom of a convincing performance like these kids do. The eldest of the boys, not the twins, the next generation up. Wow, by the way, when he delivers that exorcism scene in the loft, I was like, holy shit, this dude, like, why have we not seen anything else from him since?
Yeah, performance wise, it's great, and story wise, I really buy into this time period of sort of horror. I really like, because there's an element of these characters would believe what they're up against, and that makes it more impactful for me than, say, a modern horror movie where we understand that a lot of these things are fantasy. Like when they get exiled, that opening scene where you get like he's in front of the town judges in the church house, and they're like, will you practice Christianity how we tell you? And he's like, no. He done a you. He's like, no, I fucking won't. I'll do it how I want to do it, and if you don't like it, fuck you. Like when it pans,
so is that what I missed on why they got exiled? Was that the reason, because they weren't following the faith to the direct line of the community they were in?
Yes, so he was following things slightly different, and they didn't like that. They didn't like anything to be out of that Puritan living. But when the camera pans round and it shows the mum and Anya Taylor-Joy, the look on their face is like, oh, fuck, we're fucked. And it's so subtle, but it's brilliant. And then it literally cuts to them going off in the wagon. I swear to God, I thought that wagon was going to fall over.
I thought one of the wheels was going to come off as well. It was the next scene after that sent me into a bit of confusion for a while, because when they're in the courthouse, there is just the older children. There's just the mum, the dad, the oldest boy, and Anna Taylor-Joy. And then when they leave in the wagon, you don't see the other kids. But then the next scene, she's breastfeeding a baby, the mum, by the way. And then next after that, Anya Taylor-Joy's having it. And at one point, I was like, is that your kid and your mum's breastfeeding that baby? He's like, how weird is this how long have you been left away from this community?
So there's quite a time jump. So when they leave, the next scene you see, they've got a fully built farmhouse, some farm
So were those
land.
kids not present before they left the community, the twins and the baby?
They either weren't present or they were, like the two younger ones were babies when they left. They've been there long enough to build a farmhouse, grow some crops that are now fully fledged, so that's at least a year, and they're in the process of building a barn as well, so they've been there a decent amount of time has passed. It's not like it was the next day.
No, it's not like they've just stumbled upon this pre-made house in the woods and that's where they've set up camp.
No, I love how quickly this moves as well, because you go from the courthouse, jump forward 2, 3, however many years it is later, and then you go straight into Peekaboo. This scene is so good. The peekaboo, and it cuts to her, it cuts back to the baby. The baby's like, yeah. And then, like, the third time, it's like peekaboo, and she pulls her hands back and it cuts, and it's just an empty blanket. Like, that is like, oh, man.
It's terrifying, man. It's terrifying. After just having a baby as well, I didn't like the way that this movie started.
No,
do you know, like it hit home quite hard, and I was like, oh, I don't like the way that this film is making me feel. And then after that, instantly again, the baby's disappeared from the blanket. You cut to the witches in the wood, and they've basically slaughtered the baby, and they're rubbing its intestines and blood and guts all over the broom and all over themselves, or the singular witch we see at the time anyway. And I was like, that can't be real. And then they cut back to the farmhouse. They don't necessarily show the mother in grief. They just sort of show them going about their day. And then you discover, no, actually what you just saw did happen. And I'm like, what a punch in the gut. I'm like literally 10 minutes into this film.
And that scene, like at the beginning where like the baby's there naked and like the witch's hand is coming up, it's like, it just makes me feel so uncomfortable because she's got a knife and I know what's going to happen. And there's a big part of me when I watch this going, no, they won't do that. No, they won't do. Oh, she's bathing in the baby blood. Shit. And Robert Eggers doesn't hide away from things that most directors would be like, do you know what? We're not going to do that. He commits, and he committed hard with that. And I love the dynamic of the family now after the baby's gone, with the mum is in this constant state of crying and unconsolable, as you would be. The dad is very much like, well, shit happens, like it's terrible, we need to move on. The one thing I want to touch on is the bit with him and his eldest son where they go into the woods and his eldest son's like, so is Samuel in heaven now? And he's like, no. No, he's not. He wasn't baptized. He's probably burning in hell. And I'm like, oh man, like
Yeah, a little bit of fucking license. I like this. I do like this relationship between the two of them, the honesty between the father and son, because the conversation sets about between the dad sort of saying, "We're gonna have to stop searching. If we don't find him today, not only is he lost forever, but he's certainly starved to death in the woods, regardless if the wolves have taken. If the wolves haven't eaten him, he's starved to death regardless. He's been gone too long. We need to move on
yeah,
and let go," which sparks a conversation with the eldest son. And he's like, so, because I think they're not even saying his name anymore within the area or the house. It's
no,
just as if he was almost not even there. And he's like, would that happen to me? And you can see how upset he's getting. Even though he's a strong-willed young man, he's still a child. And you see that child come out of him in this scene where he's like, are you going to do that to me? If I die tomorrow, are you going to forget me instantly? And it's like, oh dude, this is harrowing, man. It's fucking harrowing stuff. It's dealt with really, really well.
it is, and the dad is so stern as well. You can see the best bit about this is you can see the dad struggle. Like he doesn't want to go against his faith and go and lie and say, yes, of course that you'll go to heaven. Like he wants to stick true to his faith and go, well, no, you weren't baptized, so that's not going to happen. And instead of tackling it, he just goes, well, we will never speak of this again.
Yeah.
Now get the traps. Also, your mum's silver cup that she loves so much, I sold that to buy these traps that we're struggling like fuck to catch rabbits with.
From the Indians. Because then again, that introduced another element to the story where I was like, oh, is it Indians? Is it like this whole Indian burial ground thing? Like, where is this going?
Honestly, this doesn't give much away.
No,
until you
for
get
someone
to
who's
the...
not seen this movie before, this was a first watch for me, and I made purposefully sure that I didn't get any spoilers or anything like that going in, considering this is like nearly an 8-year-old movie, if not older, 9-year-old movie.
10.
Well, 10 years now, yeah. I'm surprised I didn't know what the outcome was by the time I reached the climax, but I didn't know anything. I didn't have any idea of how this was going to pan out or where it was going, and I think it does a really good job of sending you in so many different directions and second guessing the things that you're seeing play out on screen as whether they're true or whether they're not.
Yeah, it does a really good job of that. It also does a really good job of setting up multiple villains. So you've got the dad is kind of like this really harsh, stern person. You've got the mum who's almost jealous of Tomlinson for her becoming sort of the age she is, and she's got an axe to grind against her daughter. And you've got the two twins who, honestly, I think these are the two villains in this movie. They caused it all. I hate these kids. They're horrible.
Yeah, man. They brought all of this on the family.
Yeah, and it's all because of their friend,
Black Phillip.
Black Phillip. Screaming goat. Let's talk about Black Phillip. Black Phillip is a goat, and honestly, I thought he was an animatronic or a sort of practical effect goat. All of the close-ups of Phillip is actually a goat.
Yeah, man. He's on the same level as Steven Seagal in terms of his Oscar-worthy nominations for pet Oscars.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. He's no Steven Seagal, but he's a very good actor. But I like this dynamic that the kids are talking to the goat, and there's an element of, kids talk to animals.
Yeah, are they? Aren't they? They're telling. Yeah, do you know what I mean? And I don't want to jump the gun too much, but again, we don't go in order. I think the way that it was handled at the end, I had this really, really bad gut feeling in my stomach where I was like, please do not talk to turn the camera to a talking CGI goat, because I'll check out. There's like 5 minutes left to go. Do not kill it. Do not spoil this movie. And thankfully enough, they didn't. And I thought it was handled really, really well. That the way they delivered the Black Phillip thing.
I'll be honest. That scene where you get the shot of the goat's hooves coming across sort of under the chair, and as the goat hoof touches the floor, it turns into a person. Like it turns into a boot of a man. I was like, that is absolutely phenomenal. Like I'm so on board. It's beautifully shot. Caleb going back into the woods. So the dad and Caleb go out to try and catch rabbits and they fail miserably. And later on in the movie, Caleb goes back out again to do it himself. and he gets lost in the woods.
I was like, no fucking way. Just start whacking off in the woods.
And he meets a witch. I'm going to ask you a question. I've always said I'd never get lured into a trap or anything like that. But if this witch came out of her house and what, would you like to come in for a tea? I'm pretty sure I'd go in for a cup of tea.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially if she's got biscuits, I'm there.
Yeah, she's definitely got biscuits. 2 very large ones that are on full display. This plate, they also build this really well as well. So they show that Caleb is looking at his sister's tits a lot.
Yeah.
And the first time he done it, I was like, that's a bit weird. The second time he done it, I was like, when she's like washing the clothes in the stream, and she's doing that thing that we know you girls do it on purpose. Like the arms are slightly too close together, and as you wash, it makes the boobs jiggle. She's doing that. And at first I thought it was weird, but then it dawned on me, like he got taken away from the town where there were other women. He's now reached an age where he's getting to the point he's going to be sexually mature. And he's not going, oh, yeah, my sister's boobs. It's more a case of, oh, do you remember when we used to live in the village and there was other women with boobs? I think it's more that than perving over
definitely.
sister.
And I mean, you can see when Anna Taylor-Joy confronts him in that instance where she's washing the clothes in the stream, you can see he's not angry. He's angry because of his lust, because it's his sister. Do you know what I mean? Like, he can't help himself because he's a young pubescent teenage boy, but he's also like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, that's my sister. You know, I don't think he's feeling a sexual attraction towards his sister. It's just the circumstances of the situation and his maturity developing.
Yeah, and I think in the hands of any other director, that becomes a really creepy element, because I don't think anyone else could handle it as well and as delicately. It's handled almost like a throwaway thing, and it's handled in that way because it's setting up this scene where he does see the witch who's got massive boobs and is very attractive. She's like, come into my hut, and he's like, oh fuck yes, I will.
I don't know, man. The fear on his face as he's going in, he's definitely unsure about his actions, but feels compelled to follow on with them.
You say that, but we've both at some point in our life been with an older woman. We have had that fear in our eyes as we've been led away and then come out smiling. He just didn't come out smiling. That's the difference.
This is very true. I mean, he may have done it in the first place, but by the time he reached back to the town, he wasn't.
The dad going to look for him is harrowing. And the bit where, like, he's disappeared, like that whole section of the movie, and they have that awkward sit-down meal where the dad can't go and look, and the mum's like, also, who took my cup? Was it you, Tomlinson? She's like, no, I haven't touched your cup. And the dad knows he's done it. She's like, maybe the wolves took it. And I'm like, oh man, like,
well, you see, that was before the boy disappeared, which was really good as well, because the boy also knew, because the father had told him what happened. Thomason's getting thrown under the bus at the meal, and neither of them speak up to support her and defend her, and they let her just take this rap. Even though he tries to deflect the conversation, he doesn't own up and be like, no, I got rid of the cook. She hasn't done anything. Which, again, comes full circle. I love the interaction between Thomason and her father when it all comes to light. And after the boy returns, we'll talk a bit about the exorcism. I'll circle back around to it. But the actual conversation between Thomason and her dad, when he's convinced she's a witch, and he's like, no, I'm going to cast you out. I don't know where he says he's taking her, but he's taking her somewhere as if to, like, say, you'll be burned at the stake or whatever it is, under the powers of being a witch or whatever. But the conversation between the two of them, like, is so powerful, man, where she's like steps up and speaks to him out of turn, which, given the circumstances and the time period, you know that women don't necessarily speak to the man of the house in this fashion.
It is still like that
for not
well, it's still like that. It's still like that in my house now. Like, Lisa would never talk out.
She would beat your ass, mate.
Yeah, she would.
But I love how impactful that conversation is, where she finally steps up to him, like, "What about the cup? Like, you're talking about lies and deceit, and that I'm this and I'm that, but you are just as bad. All the things that you've done, I'm an innocent in all of this, and I'm being accused of these things. Everything you've done is a lot worse than I've ever done." It's a really, really cool scene. But let's circle back around to the exorcism scene, because I think it's one of the most powerful scenes in the movie, especially from the young actor himself as well.
It is. Before we get to that, though, the whole reason she's being accused is because she done the thing that, if you're watching on YouTube, you saw it. If you're just listening, you heard it. The bit where the two twins are playing up by the river, and she's like, "You're a witch," and Tomlinson's like, "Do you know what? I've had enough of your bullshit now. Yes, I am the witch, and if you don't do as you're fucking told, I'm going to take you away to the woods, and you'll never come back too." And then when it all gets really heated, it's the sister who goes, "She's a witch. She told me at the river." And you're like, "Oh, you bitch. You little bitch."
But again, at the same time, she is a witch, not Anya Taylor-Joy. The twins, they are. So, like, do they know that they're throwing her under the bus, knowing full well that they're already affected by it? It's like, I don't know. I don't understand the lore enough within this movie to be able to be like, right, well, they know indefinitely that they are a part of it, or is it just because of Black Phillip's influence and their young naivety that they're unaware of it, and that it starts to come to light during the exorcism how connected they are to the situation? I don't know how far they go in terms of their intelligence towards it.
No, see, this all ties into the exorcism. So the exorcism we'll talk about in just a second, but the bit in this that I thought was more impactful is when the son's come home. He rocks up, stark bollock naked, and he's got a fever and he's coughing, he's convulsing. The dad goes, "Let's pray." It's because we've not been praying hard enough that this shit's happening. And they all get down and pray, and they start saying the Lord's Prayer. And he says to the two twins, "Say the prayer," and they refuse. And this is where you get
remember.
Yeah, and Anya Taylor-Joy's like, they're the witches, and why this huge argument of "you're a witch, no, you're a witch." Like, it's like the Spider-Man meme. When that bit's going on, this is where you get the great performance of hocking up a whole apple.
Really, really fucking cool. Really cool. But I like the way that the twins coincide with the incident that's occurring. So as he's convulsing, they start convulsing on the floor. It's really cool. It's just, again, like, I don't understand why. Like, I don't understand why. Like, why has he returned? Why has he not just been kept by the witches? Why has he returned? Why are the two children also involved? Why are they connected? Is this all some ploy to try and get Anya Taylor-Joy broken down enough to be able to get her to be a member of the witches' coven? Like, is this all a ploy just to get her?
No. I'll talk about it more in my roundup, but long and short of it is all of them are being punished by the devil, and they're all being punished in their own individual way. So the two children are being punished directly for the sin they have committed, and the same for all of the characters being punished against the sin that they have committed. So what they've done in life is what they're being punished for.
But why?
Because
they left the coven that they were part of, or
exactly that. It's they're not practicing faith how they should do. They are not honoring God in the way they should. Therefore, they're allowing the devil into their life, being Black Phillip, and him then influencing the two younger children, that then spreads like an infection. And it spreads because they're all sinners. Every single one of them breaks a cardinal sin.
Okay. I can get behind that. I thought my theory was better, though, I'll be honest with you.
In my roundup, I'll break it down properly. I don't want to do it now because it's quite a lot to it, but I'll break it down, that each of the sins they've broken and why they're being punished for that sin.
Okay.
The dad's way to resolve this, so the son dies, which is tragic and awful, and the mum, who's already broken from losing her baby, has now lost her son as well. And she's like, "Get that witch out of my house." And this is where, like, Anya Taylor-Joy's like, "No, it's them. It's their fault. They done it." And the dad's response is like, "Do you know what? I'm just going to lock you all in the barn with Black Phillip, and I'm going to nail you shut in there and just leave you alone." Which is wild.
But also understandable. They're all pointing fingers. It's like, well, fuck you all. I get it.
You say that, but at any point, would you nail your children into a barn with a goat for the evening?
Not necessarily with a goat, but if I had the abilities to have a barn with a hammer and nails where I could pen them up for a couple of hours, I might take that opportunity. With technology these days, you can stick a Ring doorbell in there and keep an eye on them. It'll be fine.
Parenting tips from the You Run podcast. One thing we haven't touched on is the dad. So it's in a time period where men don't discuss their emotions, and the dad has lost his son early on, and then he loses his other son later on, and he's got his wife constantly on his case, and he's got a daughter who's very strong and independent, and two younger children who are an absolute nightmare. And because he can't vocalize any of that, he chops wood. And at the beginning, you see him chopping wood. At the end, which we're nearly at now, he has chopped so much wood that he has covered his house from the floor to the ceiling, and he's actually crushed by his own emotions at the end.
Which is a cool metaphor, man. Like, I like that, and I got it, surprisingly, because I don't often get stuff like that in these types of movies, but I got it, you know. This ending, dude. This ending is wild, considering the pace that this movie goes at throughout. And it's a 90-minute movie. I don't think it moves at a bad pace, but it doesn't necessarily move at your sort of standard horror tropey, jump scares by the minute, plot development here, there, and everywhere every 10 minutes. It kind of is a steady pace throughout it, with the odd bit of momentum and then a dip back down and then a bit of momentum and then a slow build back down, which again, not a bad thing, you know, it makes for a great storytelling purposes. But this ending just goes off, man, and it reminded me a lot of that. What's that recent movie that just came out? What we did, where the woman axes herself in the head after killing her husband. The Argentinian movie.
Where Evil Lurks. When Evil Lurks.
Where Evil Lurks. Yeah. Like this scene here at the end, like this last sort of 10 minutes is just like that roller coaster sort of build up. Except here, it kind of doesn't let up for a good sort of 10, 15 minutes. And I found it quite intense, man. I really did find this climax intense, which is not something that I often find with horror movies these days.
It's really intense, and it's almost like he got an hour and 20 minutes into the film and someone went, "You've only got 10 minutes left." And he went, "Oh, fuck, right, okay, carnage, all now." Because you like the dad's death, like where he sort of gets attacked and gored by Black Phillip against the house, and then all the logs fall and crush him. We're like, oh man. And then like the mum and Anya Taylor-Joy, that fight is like, oh, your mum and daughter, like, and it's all because the mum's jealous. Like the mum's like jealous that she's become the woman of the house. And there's so much underplay in what's going on. There's so much slow build into that confrontation that when they do clash, I'm not rooting for the mum at all.
No, certainly not. But at the same time, I'm also not rooting for Anya Taylor-Joy because I just can't make my mind up about who she is or what she is in this movie. It's so misleading all the way through that you just don't know where you're supposed to be throwing your support. Which again, we talked about in The Lighthouse. Like each one of them, neither of them have protagonist qualities about them, and you don't know which side you're supposed to be on. And he does the same thing here in The Witch, only more subtly, because you know you should be rooting for Anya Taylor-Joy, but there's so much about the plot development and the character interactions that tell you, are you sure you want to go in this corner?
Yeah, and like this leads to the point where she kills her mum. Her mum and dad are dead. The two younger kids are dead. The baby is gone. He's dead. The brother is dead, and it's just Anya Taylor-Joy. And she has this moment where she goes into the house and she kind of puts a sheet on her because she's covered in blood. And she has a moment with Black Phillip. She's like, "Listen here, motherfucker. I know that you can talk. So you talk to me right now." And this is where he does the sort of hoof into boot, turns into a man, sort of comes round the side of her head and goes, what would you like to know? And I was like, oh my God, this is so good. Like, he is the actual devil as a goat. And the moment where he's like, well, I can give you whatever you want. Would you like to live deliciously? Would you like an apple? Would you like, and he's offering her really basic stuff, which today a deal with the devil would not be sold by, do you want to live deliciously? Do you want an apple? Do you want to always have a full belly? And do you want to have a family? Like, that's not a deal anyone today would take. But in 1800, that's like, yes, I want all of that.
Yeah. I still don't know if I'd just seen a man transform from a goat to a human, whether I'd be signing his contract or not, though.
Depends on what he was offering me and what I was giving up, because this is one of the things that they tackle quite well. Because he says, like, I don't want your soul, I want your life, I want your blood, I want your body, I want you. I don't, like, souls mean fuck all to me. Like,
which is why I assumed that the plot was building up to deterring everything away from her. Was she the end game of Black Phillip this whole time? Was he breaking everything else around her down to the point where he could have her?
It's possible, but she doesn't take any convincing to take that deal. He's like, do you want to live deliciously? And she's like, yeah, I do. And then
she's got nothing left. She's got nothing left. She can't go back to the cult. She can't go back to the coven or whatever.
The cult. That's not a cult. That's a religion.
Yeah, the same thing. She can't go back to the cult. So she's kind of like, well, what else have I got? I either take this deal or I'm on my own, you know?
Yeah, and she takes a naked stroll into the woods, and then we get many, many, many naked flying witches, which I didn't expect in this movie.
Which, I'll be honest with you, man, it didn't look great. It didn't look great. You could tell they were all on strings and it weren't naturally flowing. It was a bit pantomimey at the end. Minor criticism.
Yeah,
you know.
And when we talk about budget, you'll be like, yeah, okay. I'm impressed they had strings and not rope to pull them. Like, this was made for a shoestring budget, like next to nothing. Is there anything you want to talk about before we take a break?
Not really, because not a lot happens. I mean, a lot happens, but at the same time, it kind of doesn't. I knew it would be a quick breeze through with the rundown for this movie. And I know you're going to have amples of facts for this because you love this movie.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, we probably better cut this bit short.
Yeah, the second half of this episode is very much me going to be giving you some facts, and then in my roundup, explaining all the things that people who tend to not like this movie probably missed because they were just going, oh, this is so slow, instead of looking at the little details. So, yeah, that's the second half. Let's take a break.
Yay!
I take like one sip of my drink and then I drop my full drink right on the robot.
To hear the rest of this story and many others like it, mixed in with film reviews, music discussion and true crime, You Gonna Eat That Crust podcast is the place for you. Hosted by Ryan, Greg and Seamus, the Crusty Boys bring you something truly unique every single episode.
Jack is useless. He pulls out his knife and he immediately loses the knife.
While if in-depth film discussion covering all movie genres is your thing, then Movies for Days is the place for you. Hosted by Newman, this show is hilariously funny and so detailed. These and many other shows all available at yourunpodcast.com. So please go and check out yourunpodcast.com. You'll find all the other network members there. There's so many. It's so many varied shows. You'll also find our shop, links to all our socials and all the other cool stuff as well. Now it's time. And he complained last week that he didn't have music. So this week I have brought him music. I've brought you wonderful music, and I'm stalling because I know you're desperately looking for your notes. Are you ready for me to hit the music?
Hit the music.
Okay. And now on the You Run podcast, it's time for Recommended Account of the Week. Yeah! That's enough of that.
That was nice. I like that. So this week's recommended account of the week doesn't actually come from me. I left a message in the show last week saying if you thought your account was worthy of recognition, then drop me a message and I'll be sure to showcase it. Well, Dewey Podmonster came out of the blue and messaged me and said, "Hey man, not necessarily my account, but here is a cool account that I follow." And his message reads, "This is account of wealth and knowledge on horror, exploitation, and general sleazy movies, often stuff that doesn't get talked about, and for us anyway, has led to a handful of episodes. And they felt it worthy enough to bring to my attention, so I am bringing it to your attention. This account is unhinged_film rentals." This message has literally just come into me before we started recording, so I haven't had a great deal amount of time to sort of roll through their page myself. But from the brief look that I have seen, I can understand why Dewey Podmonster has recommended this to me to showcase with the rest of the world. Cool account from all accounts, from what I can see. Check it out. Go see what you think for yourself. It's unhinged_film rental. Give them a like, give them a follow, and always let them know that the You Run podcast sent you, and also let them know that the Dewey Podmonster podcast sent you there as well.
Yeah, and that's Dewey Podmonster, member of the You Run Podcast Network. So also check out their show at yourunpodcast.com or crap.town, which is their website.
And again, it just goes to show, if there's an account you think that people want to see or want to hear about, it doesn't necessarily have to be your own. You might stumble across a cool account and think, I'll drop that over to Marc because I think everybody else would enjoy this just as much as I have. Send it my way. I'll share it. As you can just see, I have straight away. Simple message. It's all it takes.
Yeah, and also it saves Marc having to find one.
This is very true. Don't undersell it, man. I'm doing a good thing here.
So the movie The Witch is spelled the VVitch, the VVitch.
I even went out of my way to message you today, and I was like, dude, don't do it. I know what you're about. I know the type of person you are. Do not be calling it the Vitch all the way through the episode because I'll lose my shit. And thankfully enough, you haven't. You've restrained yourself tonight.
I have restrained myself, and there's a reason why. So everyone in this movie refers to the witch as the witch. They don't call her the Vitch. It's the witch. And there is there's a historic reason for this. So back in the time that this story was set, the letter W did not exist in the Puritan language. They only had the V. So the way that so you know when we do like colour in the UK, we add the U that the rest of the world doesn't. It's
we had the U and the rest of the world took the U away.
Yeah, well, whichever way you want to look at it. So this is like that. So when in Puritan speak, if you put two V's together, they make a W sound.
That's cool. I get that. I understand that.
Yeah.
And considering how faithful he was to the language of the times as well, even as that disclaimer, like the language spoken is very faithful to the depiction of the era and source material, which I thought was really impressive. It took me a while to get used to, I'm going to be honest with you. There was moments where I could see the cast members were almost trying really hard. You know, like it didn't feel effortless in certain places, but I appreciate it being there nonetheless.
The dad, especially with his gravelly voice, there's times a little bit like Willem Dafoe. There's times where he's like, we don't do that, lad. I'm like, what?
See, I thought he was like, I watched him and I was like, dude, you must do a lot of Shakespeare because you are fucking shit hot at this. Like he looks like a theatre actor from the way he was so naturally flowing with it in this movie. I think the only one that I found to struggle with it the most was the two younger twins. But again, age, they get a free pass. I didn't think the mother was necessarily the best at it. I thought the eldest boy, Anatolia Joy, and the dad were fucking flawless.
See, I think they all nailed it. I think it's just the gravelly voice that there's times he said stuff. I'm like, I got the gist of what you were saying, but I didn't hear exactly what you said. The film was shot in available and natural light. There was only 2 or 3 scenes in this where they added light to the scenes. Everything else was just shot as it was.
That must have been cheaper.
Yeah, definitely cheaper. So in this film, you see a hare many times, like they try to catch the hare, and it's insinuated many times that the hare is the witch. Now, again, this is kind of historically tied in. So there was an associated with witches and hares. So it was a case of if you had a hare on your farm, the milk would be spoiled because it was a witch that had come to visit your farm. And also hares were known to speak to people and influence their opinions on God and the devil. So that's the reason the hair's added into this film. Anya Taylor-Joy.
What do you before you move on? What was your take from it? Because I never really questioned the hair, although it was there and it was there, and I was like, oh, okay, that clearly has symbolism or importance. It never came to light on what that was for me. I still to this day don't quite. Do you believe it to be the witch?
I think it is one of the witches, the same as later you see a crow, and I think that crow is one of the witches. I don't necessarily think it's the witch, but it is one of the witches from that coven.
In
just
terms
kind of
of
keeping
witches' law, can they do that?
Yes, they can. They can use animals, so they haven't transformed into the animal, but they can use
like
the
Bran
animal
from Game of Thrones, where they can walk into the animal.
Exactly that. That's a brilliant analogy as well. Bram
You're
the
welcome.
Broken. There was over 300 audition tapes for this movie for the role of Tomlinson. The first one Robert Eggers watched was Anya Taylor-Joy's. He didn't make it through many more after that.
Cool.
Which I thought was great.
I think she's great, and I still think had it not even been for this movie, she would have gone on to have an excellent career. But
Yeah.
I think as an opening for her, was this her first movie?
Her first major role,
major role, yeah. I think this is a great stepping stone for your career.
Yeah. This movie is one of the only movies endorsed by the Satanic Temple. They have hosted several screenings of the film, and a spokesman said, it's an impressive representation of satanic insight that will inform contemporary discussion of the religious experience. So the Satanic Temple have gone, this is actually how we believe Satan works. Which,
so I don't understand that, because I watched a documentary on Netflix about the Satanic Temple and the Satanic Cult. They aren't actually Satanists. They don't believe, at least the documentary that I got, the one that I watched regarding the Satanic Cult of America, the Satanic Temple, that big black house where they all live.
Yeah.
Not necessarily all of them, but the main cult one. They're not actually like devil worshippers. They're just like, no, we just don't believe in the word of God and stuff like that. We just embrace.
I think
like, so for them to be advocating stuff like witches and things like that doesn't necessarily fit in with the image that I have of them.
So this was Jex Blackmore, who is the spokesman for the official Satanic Temple, and he's basically
I think
said
that's the dude from the documentary. I might be wrong, but I'm gonna have to go back and watch that documentary on Netflix. It's really good. I'll give it a watch anyway. But that was basically saying people think we're all like devil worshippers. That's not what the Satanic Cult is about at all.
Maybe that's just propaganda to get you to join.
No, dude, seriously. Like, they were saying, like, it's not, we don't worship the devil. We don't believe in Satan and things like that. We're just basically atheists.
Yeah, I think there's more to it. But yeah, okay, cool. If that's what they said in the documentary.
I might be very misguided with that opinion. I need to go back and do my research properly. But that was the first initial thought that came to my mind.
You just drank the Kool-Aid of the recruitment video. That's what happened. During colonial times, it's widely believed that a witch was unable to complete the Lord's Prayer, which is why the family gets so upset when the two younger kids can't say the Lord's Prayer, because that was well known. If you can't say the Lord's Prayer from start to finish, you are a witch or you are a warlock. There were many scenes in this movie planned. Black Phillip was going to have a much bigger role, but Black Phillip was a dick. Like,
I heard Black Phillip was a dick.
The goat was horrifically bad. So bad so that they had to rewrite the script and scrap several scenes because Black Phillip just did not want to play ball. You know the scene at the beginning where Black Phillip's out with the kids and they're singing the Black Phillip song and he's dancing around. The dad like wrestles him into the pen.
Yeah.
And Black Phillip knocks the dad over. Mm-hmm. Like when the dad knocked Black Phillip over, there was a cut called because Black Phillip knocked him over and then was rutting him on the floor and like trying to actually kill him.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, Black
Phillip is a dick.
Black Phillip was a bad guy. When Black Phillip says to Tomlinson, "Would this is an old English? I'll try my best. Wouldst thou like to taste butter?" So in the 15th and the 16th century, the Catholic Church deemed eating butter a bigger sin than lying, blasphemy, or impurity. And that
For
was
what reason?
because butter was becoming readily available and people were having this indulgent lifestyle, adding butter to their food and to their bread. The church were like, no. That's not paying penance to God. Like, you can't do that. So we must have it. So they basically went,
no, that's not taxable yet. You cannot do that.
That's basically the gist of it. How much do you think this movie cost to make? I've already told you it was low, but I'm curious.
I know, but there's not a lot to it in terms of visual effects. The set locations are very basic. The casts are fairly low required wages cast, especially for the type of movie it became to be. I'm going to say 8 million.
You would be way over budget.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to let you guess again.
Right now you're saying way over budget. 2 million.
No, now you're way under. It was $4 million this cost to make. Cost 4. How much do you reckon it made worldwide?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I know this. I don't know how successful it was in its theatrical run. I know it's got a massive following these days, hence Robert Eggers' career that's taken off as well as it has done. I would say this has made 84 million.
No, 40 million worldwide gross. That made 10 times its initial budget.
Oh, okay. That's still reasonably low by today's standards.
It is by today's standards, but you think for a $4 million film, making 40 million, any studio is going to sign off on giving that director a bigger budget for the same return.
One thing I don't remember about this movie either is the marketing side of it being very big. I don't think it had a big marketing campaign behind it when it came out.
No, it didn't. It was lots of, so the trailer they used and all the marketing they used was that peekaboo scene. And it was just peekaboo, peekaboo, baby gone, the witch. That's literally all they gave people.
Right.
Why don't trailers do that anymore?
They really should. They really should. There was a new A24 film that's coming out next year, which I was really, really excited about, which has Jack Quaid in it. I can't remember what it's called. Like, I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah,
the first teaser trailer looked fucking fantastic, where he set her arm on fire and stuff like that. If you don't want to know what happens in the second trailer, close your ears right now. It turns out it's another fucking sex robot AI thing, and she's got super developed and just gone off on her own mission thing. And I was like, had you not shown me that in the second trailer and that had been revealed to me in the movie, I would have fucking flipped my chair and been absolutely over the moon. But the fact that I know it's just another Megan ripoff, the same with the Megan Fox thing, I'm just so not interested anymore.
Yeah, and it's the same as Abigail. Abigail, had they not told us it was a vampire, when I got the reveal that that little girl was a vampire and killing everyone, I'd have thrown popcorn in the air. I'd have given it the proper, but I knew, so it meant nothing. Should we check our voicemails?
I'm not sure, but okay.
Okay.
Depends if they're coming for me or not.
No one's coming for anyone this week. It's quite pleasant, to be honest, which is
that's even
strange.
Worse.
Yeah.
Correction. I'm just now getting around to listening to the Lighthouse episode. I had seen Arachnophobia before. I had seen Arachnophobia multiple times. The one that I suggested that I had not seen was me just being a dick. And that was the Natamorphose, I think. And yeah, I still haven't watched that.
Oh, was that it? Was that me getting confused?
Yeah, it was Thanatomorphos. It was me and you both getting confused. It was Thanatomorphos that Eric hadn't seen. Worked out great.
I'd already seen it prior.
Yeah, but it worked out great because he requested it, and then we got the director on for an interview, which was cool.
And I'd already seen the movie prior as well, and I loved being able to talk about it, so it was cool for me to have it on. So, Eric, I apologise. You are forgiven. Welcome back into the fold.
This next message is really bad audio quality, so you need to listen very carefully. Okay. But I don't know if you want to.
Hit me.
Well, as you know, I masturbate while listening to you guys. We've covered this. But I think for the first time ever, I may actually masturbate while watching, just because Robert Pattinson. Why not?
Didn't get a word of that. I know it's Dave being movies, but that's about as far as I can go.
Yeah. Dave said, as we know, it's now common knowledge throughout the universe that Dave masturbates while listening to the show. For last week, for the first time ever, because Robert Patterson was involved in our wonderful background, he decided he's probably going to masturbate while watching the show instead.
Why, man? Why? If you want to do that, that's cool. That's cool. It's out there for free on the internet. You do what you want with it. That's fine. I don't need to know. I don't need to know that's what you're doing.
But I need you to tell
me in an
Marc.
awkward position right now. Like I'm recording and I'm like, are my angles good? You know, I'm doing this for Dave. Should I be sat like this? Should I wear a better hat? Should I twizzle my mustache a bit more? You know, it's put me in a really, really awkward predicament this now.
The thing is, you think back to long ago before we had video podcasts, there is times that I have recorded completely shirtless.
That was a strange day.
Yeah, it was a very strange day. I was literally sat here in a pair of pants recording with you. Maybe in the summer.
I'd rather not talk about it, to be honest.
Anyway, we've got more messages.
Hey, it's Jay here. Just throwing my 2 cents in there about Brighton Beach debate. Brighton's lovely, don't get me wrong. The beach, however, is a bit of a dump. So, sorry, Davey, is a shithole.
Excellent.
Which worked out perfect because we got another message from Dave, and it's almost like he knew Jay had messaged.
I can actually confirm that Brighton Beach is far from Blue Sea. And you can't have more context because, quite frankly, I hit record and I forget about it 20 minutes later.
So, yeah, it's now confirmed by 2 people who live in Brighton. Brighton Beach is a shithole. We have one more message before we roll on.
Cheers, guys. Great episode. Thank you for doing my film, and I will look forward to wearing my pants.
Huge thanks. Dave was devastated when I said we hadn't managed to find somewhere that will let us have you run podcast pants, but he is going to get his merchandise for winning the competition. And we covered The Lighthouse, so not only did we cover his movie, he won a prize on that episode as well. So, hey,
good episode
all
around.
Yeah, we've had some comments on Spotify. Lady Crisis, this was after our Terminator episode. Great episode. I didn't know who Arnie was until the last half of the show. I was racking my brain trying to figure out who the character was. Laugh out loud.
Didn't know who Arnold Schwarzenegger was.
No, we were referring to him as Arnie, and I found out recently in the States it's not many people refer to him as Arnie. It's just Arnold.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Surely you can easily decipher that Arnie is short for Arnold.
Yeah, but maybe. But yeah, there was a few people. It wasn't just Lady Crisis commented on Spotify, but there's a few people who messaged me, who's Arnie, while listening.
That is the wildest thing ever. The governor of California and no one knows him as Arnie.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody in the UK calls him anything else.
This is true. Today, we bring you a brand new feature. After years of allowing you only 3 words to share your thoughts, we decided that you've matured enough, you've grown up enough, you're responsible enough to now give us an entire sentence. I'm going to regret this, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome to the 1 sentence review. Kicking off with Heather, my wonderful co-host on True Crime, Wednesday Wine and Horror on Instagram. Possibly more boring than the OG Friday the 13th.
I don't know what that woman's beef is with Friday the 13th. I love that first movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's great.
Moving on. Bells of Horror. A slow burn. You'll either love or be bored, but either way, you'll love the goat. And they're a podcast dedicated to women in horror and the genre of horror movies as a whole. And I think Black Phillip's a great character.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
XX Pearly XX. Strap in. Fuck your goat and fuck this movie. I don't think I've ever watched checks a movie so hard. It's like if mayonnaise was a movie. I was so bored. There you go. Pick a sentence. I didn't realize I had so many feelings.
Oh man, brutal takedown.
Yeah. And they're a private account and a horror fan. Also a really cool account on X if you're over on X. Stevie Loves Horror, a beautiful timepiece, but definitely not a traditional horror film. they're a horror movie review. I'd agree with that as well. This is not a. This is very much an art house horror. It's very much. This is a movie you think about afterwards. Like when you're watching it, you're just like, oh, it's a thing, and it's afterwards you're like, oh man, that was rough.
I think that's kind of Eggers' wheelhouse at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like 4 movies in, this is kind of he set the bar high with the first, and he's kind of stuck to the formula ever since. And I guess I don't know. It's kind of the same thing with Ari Aster now. Do you know, like he's known for a certain thing that you expect him to deliver on. I think this is just Eggers' zone.
Yeah, I'd agree. And finally, Attack of the Killer Objects. This is Anastasia, great podcast, wonderful person as well. Would thou like to live deliciously? Yes, I would. I
never knew where
would.
that quote had come from prior to seeing this movie, and then when it happened at the end, I was like, "Ah, cool."
See, I think this is a thing now. You and me, next time we give our wife a treat, whether we take her to a hotel or take her out for lunch, that's what we must ask before we give her the treat.
Definitely.
I have a game today. It's inspired by all of our friends at A24 who have arguably coined the market of modern art house horror. Yeah, it's a really easy game. I'm going to read out some names of movies, and all you need to do, Mark, is tell me if that's an A24 production or if it's not.
Oh, all right, simple. I'm not very familiar with the A24 series, though, so this may be a bit more harder than I expect.
Yeah, it definitely will. Also, you can play along at home and let us know in the Spotify comments what score you get. There's 10 questions, so let me know how many of these you get out of 10.
And you just want a yes or no answer from me?
Yeah, whether it's A24 or it's not. We'll start off with the easiest movie on the list, The Witch.
No, that's not A24. He's not A24, is he, Eggers?
That is incorrect. The Witch is A24.
Oh, shit, man. I didn't pay attention to the beginning as much as I should. I thought he had his own. He maybe does now, I think, with the Lighthouse and stuff. I think that's his own production company, is it not?
We'll get there because that's on the list as well, so I'm not telling you. So The Witch is A24.
Right, okay.
Suspiria.
The remake.
The remake.
Ah, dude, I suck at this game. No, I don't think Suspiria is.
No, it's not. It's from K Period Media. Midsommar.
Yes.
That is. That's correct. You've got two out of 3 so far. The Wicker Man, the original.
No, well before A24's time.
Yeah, that is Warner Brothers. The Lighthouse by Robert Eggers.
No, that is not A24.
That unfortunately is A24.
Fuck off, man. That did not say A24 at the beginning of that movie.
It does. A24 in association with whatever Eggers Pictures is. It's an A24 movie. Green Room.
Ooh, great movie.
Really good movie. Patrick Stewart as a Nazi, not what I expected when I put that film on.
Anton Yelchin, man. What an actor. Shame. I love that dude. He was so good in that movie. I think that is A24, actually, The Green Room. I think it's one of their earlier ones.
That is A24. You're doing okay. You're about 50-50 at the minute. Daddy's Head.
Daddy's Ted?
No, Daddy's Head. Head.
No, only because I know that's just come out on Shudder and he was raving about it. I don't think it is.
That's correct. That is a Shudder original. Hereditary.
Yes. Ari Aster again.
That is. Skinamarink.
No. That's independent, I believe, is it not?
That's a Shudder original as well. You're doing quite well now, actually. Final one. Y2K.
The new cheesy horror comedy thing. Yes, I think that is. Because I'm sure I read an article somewhere saying that A24 needs to be careful before losing their credibility by taking on movies such as this. So I'm going to say yes, I think that is A24, but a lot of people are unhappy that they're delving into these kind of movies now.
Yeah, that is A24. People are unhappy they're delving into these movies. Also unhappy that they done a movie with Rachel Zellweger, who's arguably the most hated woman on earth. She's the woman who's going to be the new Snow White.
Why does everyone hate her?
Because she shit all over Snow White and then said that Snow White should be a story about a woman becoming independent and strong and not needing a man.
Okay, are you saying things that I don't think are bad? Why is that a bad thing?
I don't think it's a bad thing. It's the way she brought it across. She's like, yeah, the original movie was trash. It's not relevant now. Like, it should just be all about Snow White and her and the Queen kind of teaming up and being this thing and like woman power. And generally, people just don't like the way she is. She very much said Snow White.
So the message was correct. It's just the delivery of her dialogue was incorrect.
100%. Yeah, 100%. The message was correct, but she delivered it like what word am I looking for? Like an arsehole.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes more sense.
I'm going to take roundup on this first because I've got a bit that I want to go through and do some blurb, which would be cool.
Why don't you get the flash up message that says, please bear with us?
Because I haven't got one saved. I've got no banners for this episode. This is a perfect movie. It's as simple as that. It's beautifully shot. It's cast tremendous across the board. The attention to detail is phenomenal and it's perfectly scored. And I never mention scores in movie, but this is that ominous drone is almost throughout. The story is tense. It's creepy. It's got elements of real psychological horror along with sort of the impactful scenes where you get some of the gore. It's the scariest witch film ever made. And part of that is because they tie it into that historically accurate. Everyone is genuinely scared of the witch. But do you know what makes this best? It's the underlying message that most people miss. The reason the demon or the devil or the witch or whatever you want to see that evil entity Black Phillip as comes for them is because they left their community, their protection of the church. And between them, they commit all 7 of the deadly sins, every single one of them. Pride. William was too pride. This is the dad, was too pride to admit that he was wrong and to stick with the church. So he, just through pride, he took his family into a bad situation. Envy. This is the mum. The mum is envious of Tomlinson becoming of age and that she feels that she's taking the role of the woman of the house, even to the point where she thinks that maybe the dad may be looking at Tomlinson as a replacement. Greed. This is Tomlinson herself. She takes the offer from the devil to live deliciously. It's the final sin in the movie. Lust. Caleb, lusting after his own sister at first and then after the witch. Wrath. This is the younger siblings accusing their sister of being a witch, knowing that she's not, just to see her punished. Sloth. This is being lazy. This is Jonas and Mercy, the 2 twins. All the way through this movie, they flat out refuse to do chores. All the way through. Not once do they do one. And the final one, which is really harsh, is actually the baby, Samuel. And it's gluttony, greed. And it's not through any fault of his own. It's a baby. All it can do is eat. But between them, they commit the 7 deadly sins, which is what brings the evil to their door. And had they not done that, so as you go through the movie, each time a sin is committed, the level of intensity and the level of horrible things that happen intensifies. So the first one is the dad, pride, then the baby, gluttony, then after 2 sins, the baby's taken away. Then you get the lust and the envy. Then the twins are affected. Like it's really cool when if you watch the film through that lens and you look out for the sins and watch like, oh, that sin's happened. Oh, that's it. Oh shit. It all ties back really neatly. It's really well done.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't pick up on that at all. Maybe on a rewatch, I would enjoy it a little bit better. But yeah, again, fucking hell, man, that's a deep-rooted message that some geeks come up with on Reddit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't need that.
No, it's really deep-rooted. And I'll be honest, I spotted a couple of the sins when I watched it on a rewatch. First watch out, I didn't spot it. First watch of this movie, I wasn't fully on board. I was like, it's okay. There's bits of this I really like. On a rewatch, and I started picking bits up. And then I started looking into like the meaning of the film. And then by the time I got to my third watch, like, this for me is perfect. I love this movie unconditionally. This is a masterclass in horror. As we stand on this episode, it is the best thing Robert Eggers has ever done by a country mile. It's a 5 out of 5, and if I could score it higher, I would score it higher.
Very, very solid appraisal there from you.
Mm.
For me personally, I think you could probably take my roundup from the Lighthouse, cut, paste, and just insert it here. I think it's a visually beautiful movie. I think the actors are incredible. The performances that Edgar can pull out of these actors is insane. He seems to always deliver top tier performances from his cast. I found this one a lot more digestible than The Lighthouse. I think the story is a little bit more clearer and more through line and more understandable from an A to B perspective. As a directorial debut, fucking hell, it's about as good as they come. I don't think I could pull him apart for anything directorial wise. I think the story could do with some tweaking. There's points that you've mentioned throughout this podcast that have highlighted some issues that I have had, and also eradicated quite a few of them. I think it would require another rewatch from me to really give it the score that I think it deserves. But I don't know, this Arthouse Horror Week, man, this month is just kind of, it's not my lane, dude. It's not my lane. It's not me at all. Like, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, I'm finding them a real chore to try and sit down and watch. Once I'm in it, once I'm there and I'm in it, I'm 100% invested, and I don't know what it is about these movies that takes that level of build up to encourage me to get through them, because they are good. They are good, especially what I've seen so far of Edgar's movies. The Lighthouse I thought was fantastic. It just wasn't particularly for me, but from a filmmaking perspective, it was about as good as it comes. The same could be said for The Witch. I think that as well. The authenticity to his storytelling and his use of authentic dialogue is incredible. The amount of research and preparation and effort from the cast to be able to keep this as authentic as they do in the movie is commendable. Like, I really, really appreciate when a film goes to that level to do so. I don't know, man. I'm not a big witch guy anyway. I think I mentioned this on the Craft episode not so long back. Like, for me, this just isn't my wheelhouse, man. I'm a slasher dude through and through. Give some guy a chainsaw or a big butcher's knife and let him cut a load of people up, and then I'm there, But for me, if I have to sit down and think about things on such a high level like this, that's not what I use horror movies for, man. For me, it's a means of escape from reality, and I just like to switch off my brain and have a good time. And I think this art house level of movie telling nowadays, I don't think it allows you to have the ability to be able to do that. I think there's certainly a market for it, and those people that do enjoy these movies and do appreciate it, I commend you. I think that's great. I wish I could be on that level, and there is moments in my life where I am on that level, and I do want to watch these movies. But I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'm just in a real weird place with this whole new era of filmmaking. For someone who grew up with 90s slashers, I find this level of quality above my pay grade, as I've mentioned before. And again, nothing wrong with the film. That's not the film's fault. That's a personal issue to me. So overall, I'm going to give this movie 4 out of 5. I think it's great. I think it's top tier filmmaking. Cast is outstanding. It's certainly a step up from what I experienced with The Lighthouse, but it's still not a flawless movie that so many people claim it to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the thing is, these sort of movies are very subjective. Like, with a slasher, it's a slasher. With a paranormal movie, these sort of movies have so much depth to them. They either strike a chord with you or they don't. It's really as simple as that. And I'm glad, like, for me, I'm happy that this hit better than The Lighthouse for you, because I kind of thought this would. And that's
I think
made
The Lighthouse
me happy.
is a much better made movie, though. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
I do
from
think The
from a
Lighthouse is a much better made movie. I think the acting's a lot better in The Lighthouse as well. I think if you tallied them up in terms of stats, I think The Lighthouse probably takes a win for me in terms of overall quality. But in terms of actual enjoyment, I enjoyed The Witch a lot more.
Yeah, I did as well, because The Lighthouse, as much as we raved about it, it was an hour and 40-minute movie that felt like I'd watched it for 11 days.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for another week. I hope you've enjoyed listening to us. Next week, we are back with yet another Robert Eggers. We should have called it Robert Eggers Month. We really should have.
We really should.
We're bringing you a new release, a look at Nosferatu. We actually covered the original Nosferatu, so if you go back through our episodes, you can hear mine and Mark's thoughts on a 103-year-old movie. But until then, have a fabulous week. Don't make any of the deals with the devil until we're back. We'll see you then.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
You want to die tonight?
Jokes you tell sets the scene. I hang on every word lost in the screen. Your passion for fear is contagious enough. You make me believe in Marc's overblown roundups. You run podcasts or a movie review, unveiling facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grinning long after I fled. You run podcasts, horror movie review, unveiling facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grinning long after